Welcome, everybody. It's Tuesday. It's that time again. It's the final whistle. We have the All-Star panel. Everybody is in attendance today, thanks to everybody. Ty Hayes being back. Ty, how you doing? You doing okay today?
Oh, doing good. I had to go do some things with the fiance, soon to be wife, and I don't think she can hear me, but I'm very glad to be back. Now, if I'm not here next week, right? The body's somewhere in Texas. First 48 will have the case. Y'all know where to go. But until then, we're here.
Awesome. Glad to have you back. And the one and only at the bottom of the screen, Coach Smooth. Coach Smooth, how you doing?
What it do, man? Roll Tide, boys. How everybody doing?
Doing good. Roll Tide.
Let's get it.
And Chris K. James, the one and only, the legendary punt return blocker, the one and only himself, a.k.a. Dan's big brother. Chris James, how you doing?
I'm great, man. As long as you say Dan big brother, I'm good. I'm good. I'll start early getting that first punch in.
And listen, we got
I told you to ride my coattail.
Yeah. you heard it here first. Riding his coattail is the name of his OnlyFans. Final whistle, man. How you doing?
It started, man. It's too early, man. It's not even 9.
Never too early.
Never too early.
I stay ready, so I have to get ready.
All right. And
Roll Tide, Bama Nation.
Roll Tide. And we got we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for this man, but Justin Riley, the Bama Standard. How you doing, Justin?
Bama Nation, acknowledge me.
The man that paid the bill.
And we are honored to have the man, the myth, the legend, the motivator, the coach, the does it all. Give him a round of applause. Donnie Lee is joining us today.
Yes, sir.
Donnie Lee, how you doing today, brother?
God, good. I can't complain. Happy to be here, my brother. I appreciate y'all for having me.
Good. Glad to have you. So we're going to get it started. I'm going to toss it up to you, Justin, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, before we get into our craziness, which we definitely enjoy, everybody in the chat, get rowdy tonight. Just do your thing to get this panel fired up. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. As always, we're brought to you by Workspace Solutions, the people who keep the lights turned on for us. And, hey, if you have any business needs, business digital needs, marketing, they are the people to contact. If you're watching a replay right now, that does not excuse you from doing your thing. Get in that comment section. Give us your thoughts. We got a lot of craziness tonight that we're going to be dissecting and breaking down, and it definitely deserves your attention. So we got the panel to do it. We got a full house. The only way we know how to do it. Capacity crowd. First topic on hand. Listen, we're all about stirring things up. We're about talking on the things that no one else is talking about. And nobody's talking about anybody for the Heisman when it comes to Alabama. Why aren't any players mentioned right now? Well, we got somebody we want to mention. And that's none other than Kool-Aid McKinstry. Yes, folks, you heard it from me. A defensive player, arguably the best corner in the nation, up for the Heisman. We're going to start things out. Final whistle, Dan, then Matt Cadell, Ty, our awesome guest, Donnie Lee, then Dan's big brother, and Coach Smoog is going to finish this up pretty nicely. Final whistle, Dan, take it away, sir.
Okay. This is what's going to have to happen in order for Kool-Aid to win the Heisman. A defensive player, we got to find a way. If that's what we're going to do, we got to find a way to get him some offensive touches. We know he's going to do it on special teams. He's going to return a few kicks before they stop kicking it to him. But we got to find a way. We got to find a way to get him the ball, whether it's on, quick smoke screens, jump passes, anything. But defensively, he'll hold his own. His best corner in the nation, best cover corner, hands down in the country. So in order for him to do it, we got to find a way to get him the ball besides our other 1,000 receivers we have. So that's going to be a little tough to get him the ball offensively. So that's the only way I can see it happening.
I like it.
Matt, what you got?
I'm excited. I kind of discussed this yesterday on my show, Football University. But listen, I think you look at a defensive cornerback winning the Heisman, I automatically think about Charles Woodson. I think about Charles Woodson beating Peyton Manning. You look at that year he had. Kool-Aid's got to have that type of impact. He's got to take a couple of picks. I think he needs to have about 4 to 7 interceptions, couple pick sixes, always pass breakups, shutting down the field. He needs to have at least a couple touchdown punt returns. And like Dan said, if he's hot one game, he's just had a pick six, he's just took a punt return back. Tommy Reese, go ahead and put him in on the reverse, put a little package with Kendrick Law. But yeah, Kool-Aid has the potential to be that all-around athlete and impact the game in all 3 phases of the game. So I think if he can have like a Charles Woodson type of impact on the game, I could easily see him, affecting all 3 phases of the game. I gave you my numbers, so like Kool-Aid could do it, so it's up to him. So I'm looking for Kool-Aid to have a big year. So I'm gonna go to Ty Hayes, Justin.
That's Ty Hayes, but Matt, I do want to ask you the question, and a lot of people know about his defensive prowess. Absolutely unquestionable, best in the nation. What could he possibly do in the offensive side of the ball that could really mess things up for opposing defenses?
Listen, I mean, my mind is just going crazy right now. You look at a Kendrick Law, a Kobe Prentice. I mean, you could do so many matchups, reverses. Like you could maybe put Law and Wildcat, send Kool-Aid in motion. I mean, really throw these teams off, sneak a tight end out and throw it. We could do a lot of stuff. But if history's Kool-Aid, he was a dynamic athlete, dynamic two-way sport athlete coming out of Birmingham, Alabama, Pensacola Valley, probably one of the greatest to ever do it. So he just has athletic ball skills, So anytime you get him touches, whether it's reverses, quick hitches, kind of reminds me of a Cyrus Jones. You remember how Cyrus could play both offense and defense, affect the game, special teams, punt returns. So I think if we can get Kool-Aid going like that, offensively, defensively, and special teams, he'll be in the Heisman finalists. He'll get my vote at least.
Hi, Hayes.
Yeah, well, look, picking off where you left off, Matt, I think we need to remember that coming out of high school, Kool-Aid, if we watched his film coming out of high school, I mean, a large portion of it was him as a wide receiver because he was able to affect the game so tremendously on the offensive side of the ball as well. And we're not talking someone going out there and winning off of pure athleticism, although you can certainly find clips of him winning off of pure athleticism. We're talking about a real wide receiver when Kool-Aid was out there playing wide receiver. He was fantastic. The only thing I'll say is this, guys. First, it's real hard for a defensive player to win the Heisman. I mean, it's real hard for a non-quarterback to win the Heisman. Those are the unfortunate circumstances we find ourselves working within. We're talking about players like Ndamukong Suh didn't get a Heisman Trophy, and he was a generational defensive lineman coming out of Nebraska. We're talking Jonathan Allen, Will Anderson. I mean, not getting half the recognition they deserve. I think Kool-Aid is one of the most phenomenal defensive players in the country. My biggest question would be, first and foremost, will the voters give love to a defensive player? And secondly, I think Kool-Aid's so good, they're not going to throw at him this year. I think teams are going to do everything they can to avoid even looking his way, which means he's going to have a huge year in punt return. He certainly has the ability to do that. So I think he's one of the best players in all of college football. Offense, defense, doesn't matter. He's one of the best college football players in the nation. I just always worry that these voters are so biased against the defensive side of the ball.
Donnie Lee, the baton goes to you. What does he have to do to even be considered in this conversation? Is this a far-fetched idea? And then the guys mentioned the return game. At this point in his career, can he be better than a Cyrus Jones, who's already been mentioned, Javier Arenas, and even more so at Eddie Jackson? What are your thoughts, brother?
For sure. I think obviously special teams is always the differentiating factor. Obviously, the Heisman is really important, but just in terms of going to the NFL, that's something that scouts are going to look at. Like if you're not active on special teams, it's a knock against you. So obviously, Kool-Aid being one of the top corners in the country. Roll Tide, always and forever, but I'd be wrong if I didn't shout this out. Kamari Lassiter, who's like a little brother to me, is also one of the top corners in the country. Shout out to LeBron. But on Kool-Aid, man, he'd have to get on the ball. He had to get on the offensive side of the ball for sure. But just being realistic, bro, Coach Saban don't care about Heisman trophies, and he's not going to take the chance of Kool-Aid getting hurt playing offensively. I think, like you guys said, if Tommy Rees is able to convince him they're up a significant amount, hey, let's get them a reverse. You know, we had a pony set for Cyrus when we were in school, where he came on the offensive side of the ball, but I can't remember how many times we ran it, but it wasn't very frequently. Like you said, Todd, Kool-Aid was an amazing receiver in high school. I had the privilege of watching him in the state championship game where, man, he went off, bro, like offensively, right? The teams didn't throw at him a lot. It was Saraland at the time. They didn't throw at him a lot defensively. And that's what you see with really elite cornerbacks, man. Like, you're not going to get targets. I think we'll see Terrion Arnold get a significant amount of targets this upcoming year just because guys are going to run away from Kool-Aid. And so in that sense, man, I think, you know, a really, really good corner doesn't get targets because his receiver's blanketed. But an elite corner disguises it and gives the illusion that the receiver is open and baits the quarterback into throwing it. So I think that if Kool-Aid can make that cerebral step, that's gonna be what separates him, right? Because like Matt was saying, he's got to get those picks, he's got to do those numbers because it's a quarterback's trophy to lose. They want to give it to a quarterback every single time, but if you can have a player that is generational as Kool-Aid, I think he definitely has an opportunity for that.
Without a doubt. Chris, where do you stand on this, brother?
Yeah, all these guys have made great points. I think that Kool-Aid, like, teams aren't going to test him. Like Dunny was saying, that's one way for him to get picks. You have to bait the quarterback. That's what Prime did. That's what all the greats did. Prime, Woodson, they baited those quarterbacks into making dumb throws. And it's going to be some quarterbacks with egos that are going to try them just because, you know.
Quinn Ewers.
Huh? Yeah, guys like that. Yeah, seriously. But that kid is so dynamic, man. I think that with a few punt returns, because it's only gonna take probably like 2 to 3 punt returns for a touchdown before they stop kicking to him again. You know what I'm saying? But it's a package, man. Like what we were talking about. I doubt we have problems at receiver. I don't expect problems at receiver. But if you want to mix some things up, it'll be a nice look to have a jet sweep package for him or something with Kendrick Law and the Wildcat. And bringing them in motion and handing out, and Kool-Aid rise up and throw it. Could you imagine him throwing a touchdown pass, off a jet sweep? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's so much you can do, man. We have so much talent, so that we can be so creative. And Reese is a young guy, so I'm sure he's gonna be way more wide open than as far as creativity comes than Bill O'Brien was. But it's possible, man. It's possible because I think Eddie Jackson was on his way to being a Heisman finalist that year. He got hurt. He was balling, man. He was taking back pick sixes. He was taking back punt returns. Eddie Jackson, like, he left his mark. And unfortunately, his season ended. Wasn't it on a punt return?
Yep.
Yeah.
Got hurt.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's a dangerous game, but high risk, high reward. Type deal. You want to get a guy, that recognition, and it's going to take, like, not only because, like Dunny said, Coach Saban doesn't care about that, but it's going to take for, like, the media and the fan base and everybody else to start pushing that, Kool-Aid for Heisman type thing, and to see if it catches traction. Because could you imagine him in the Texas game getting a pick six and then return the punt to the house the same game? Oh man, he's going to be up there. It's just about finishing. And the reason why Will Anderson and Sue weren't Heisman, mentioned, much. Did Sue finish what? What did Sue finish? Did he finish in the
third?
Number 2 or number 3?
Yeah. But the thing about it, they didn't return kicks. Kool-Aid does.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Kool-Aid does. So that's the difference between him and Will Anderson. Will Anderson was a one-way guy. Kool-Aid can be on all 3 phases if needed. So it's possible, but it's going to take the right type of circumstances. You can't have a quarterback lighting up like Joe Burrow did, then he's gonna run away with it. You know what I'm saying? You can't have a person, a quarterback that lights it up or a 2,000-yard running back. It's gonna have to be one of those years where numbers are just, and it's somebody comes and takes it. So it's gonna take that. I think it's possible, it's doable, but it's a long shot, but it's very doable.
Well, adding him to the offense in some way is a wrinkle that Bama fans have been crazy, and that Bohr O'Brien would never even dreamed of doing. Can Tommy Reese be that wild man and implement something that nobody's expecting to ignite the offense, just to add that extra just wow factor? Yeah, we got 1,000 wide receivers, but adding that kind of shock to things, that would really get the team fired up and get defenses and other coaches just sitting back rethinking what they're doing there that day. Coach Smoot, what you got?
Not only what all the points you all made, we just got to look at our schedule and looking for big opportunities for him to make big plays. You're talking about early Austin P and Middle Tennessee State. That Middle Tennessee is more air raid, so he's going to have some opportunities there. You know, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to put it up in there, so he's going to have some opportunities there to just show his cornerback ability and punt return ability. I don't think they're going to, bail out. A lot of these coaches play Alabama with pride now, especially coming off of a year like we did last year. You know, it's a lot of people questioning our are we still Bama? You know, that's the main question this offseason. So Kool-Aid is going to get his opportunities very early, leading into Texas, and Quinn Ewers is going to be a front runner coming into that game. Yeah, he's going to be in the talks. So if Kool-Aid can go out there and have 3 PBUs against Quinn Ewers, I'm talking about legit one-on-one PBUs, have a pick in the corner of the end zone, something crazy. I mean, a nice pick, not one like Ewers overthrowing, but go up and dog the receiver and take it, like big play. And if he could somehow sneak a kick return against Texas, at home, mind you, they coming to us. So right. it's more energy behind it, it's more opportunities. And those first 3 games, they can set the tone for Kool-Aid for him to, just being mentioned. When you talk about a corner or defensive back being mentioned, the last one was Jabril Peppers, right? Out of Michigan. Mm-hmm. Ain't that he was like a strong safety, corner, linebacker? He was hybrid type guy.
They used him as a linebacker as well, so he's a little bit of a special exception because he was in everything.
Yeah, so but he came in as a DB. You get what I'm saying? So like you get him, and he played special teams. He got to see snaps on the offensive side. So like that's probably the only type of season I would see Kool-Aid being mentioned. But it's set up early for him to have some buzz. And then we got Ole Miss. Sarkisian's going to test them. Mississippi State, they're going to play with some energy. Coming off of the tragedy they suffered this offseason. So it's opportunities for big headlines to line up for Kool-Aid to have opportunities to keep his name in the mix. And if there was anybody to do it, I'm not saying that it's possible. I'm not saying that it's likely, but if there was somebody to do it, and I had to put my money on a black horse like a dark knight, it would be Kool-Aid McKinstry.
I like it. We can definitely continue to debate this, but listen, our time is up on this segment. Very well done, guys. Now, here's another discussion that may keep us going for a little bit. And this was actually brought to us by a fan. And that is the Mount Rushmore of Alabama linebackers. I know this probably had to be a tough decision to make to limit it just to 4. So if anyone has any honorable mentions in the group, feel free to name those. Let's start out with Coach Smoot, and then go on to Chris James, Donnie Lee, Ty Hayes, Matt.
Real quick before we start, are we doing like pure linebackers or including jack linebackers as well? Edge rushers or just straight Mike?
Everybody.
How we doing?
Everybody.
Everybody.
All 4 positions across what we learned 3-4. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go.
Hey, real quick, shout out to Hattie, $10 super chat. Kool-Aid for president. We greatly appreciate that. But yeah, after Donnie Lee, we'll move to Ty, then Matt, final whistle Dan, and then I'll give mine. Take us there, Coach Smoot. What you got, brother?
All right. Hold on. What is it called? I want to make a
Mount Rushmore.
Not a Mount Rushmore. I want to make a statement. I don't want to be held to anything right now. I forget. Disclaimer. I want to make a disclaimer. I want to make a disclaimer. This is not the best linebackers of Alabama history, the top 4. Okay, these are my 4 favorite. Okay, my 4 favorite.
Fair enough.
So I don't want to hear about history, none of that. I'm telling you my 4 favorite. All right.
No judgment zone.
No judgment. Number 1, Derrick Thomas.
Ooh,
Derrick Thomas, number 1. I didn't have to see him play live. Bro, you can watch enough highlights. It's enough film out there to feel like you don't watch Derrick Thomas play live. So Derrick Thomas just, you know, and just to know my dad's love for Derrick Thomas when, you know, growing up, that's all I used to hear about. So Derrick Thomas. Number 2, Rolando McClain. When I started understanding football early in my high school years, Rolando McClain was the guy I followed until he got to Bama. So, you know, I mean, just Rolando McClain, that's number 2 for me. Number 3, I gotta pay respects to a hometown legend, Woodrow Lowe, Coach Lowe. Shout out to Coach Lowe. You know what I'm saying?
3-time All-American.
Hey, let me tell you, Coach Lowe made me roll one time in practice. My second practice. He wasn't even a coach at Central. He was there, and I had to roll, man. I had just came from alternative school, so yeah, I had to roll if I wanted to be on the team. So yeah, Coach Lowe. And then my 4th one, man. Oh man, I'm gonna say Dante Hightower, but I'm gonna say Reuben Foster too because I played against Reuben, and so I'm gonna say Dante Hightower gonna get my 4th spot. He was just a dog, man. He was different. His size, his. I mean, Dante Hightower could slick cover. He'd take your head off. I mean, he'll seal an edge. He'll gap, hold up a gap. I mean, he was a defensive lineman playing linebacker, bro, that could move like, you know what I'm saying? He could cover the edges. So that's my 5. And like I said, Reuben Foster is definitely my honorable mention. I played against that dude, man. I watched him. I watched him hit Orrin Smith so hard my senior year, man, on kick return, bro, and it was bad. So yeah.
Ty Hayes, does your list differ, or is it kind of along the same lines?
You skipped me, man.
Oh, my
Hey,
bad.
you went right over Chris.
I did.
Yeah,
My
Donnie.
bad.
Listen, and Donnie.
Man,
All right,
flat
Justin,
man.
play
getting
on
them fan
me.
messages again. Stop being mean to.
Skip me, man. I know Ty's better looking than me, but goodness, man, you know.
Chris, Dan actually told me to do that.
It was all orchestrated.
Hey. All right.
Hey.
I have actually. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I have a Mount Rushmore of Bama, and I have a Saban era Mount Rushmore. I'm gonna run it off real quick. All right, the Mount Rushmore for Bama. Number 1, Derrick Thomas, all-time single season sack leader with 27. Well, Terrell Suggs, when they started officially keeping it, he has it with 24, but Derrick Thomas had 27. All right, Leroy Jordan. Leroy Jordan was so good that he actually finished 4th in the Heisman.
Yeah.
He played offense too,
Awesome.
a little fullback too.
Oh,
And, playing offense at center and linebacker. That's crazy. Center and finished 4th in the Heisman. That's ridiculous. All right, number 3, Cornelius Bennett, 2-time All-American. Come on, bro, biscuit.
Ooh.
You know, big dog. Number 4, my boy said it. Woodrow Lowe, man. He's one of the only 2 3-time All-Americans at Bama. At Bama history. Those are my 4 Mount Rushmore. He's just what they did was just it's hard for anybody to kind of uproot them, because it is what it is. My Saban for Rolando McClain, he set the tone, the first enforcer of the Saban era. He led us to a national championship. Dante Hightower, because he was right there behind him. C.J. Mosley. And Reuben Foster. Because Reuben may be the least have the least credentials as far as because he didn't play really until his junior year when he started. Yeah, but he took off, man. Reuben played the screen better than
Anybody.
You won't run the screen with Reuben on the field. He's gonna blow that thing up, man. I've never seen nobody play the screen better than Reuben.
His pursuit. I haven't seen a pursuit like Reuben's since Reuben. You get what I'm saying?
Since Reuben.
I mean, tagging down the line of scrimmage. No one better.
A missile. But I'm gonna throw one in there, Justin. My boy might be on.
You already gave it like 20.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Listen, if Marvin Constant would have never gotten hurt, he
was the dog.
I agree with
gonna
that.
Say that. I was going to be cheesy and say that, but that's the truth.
He would have been on that Mount Rushmore.
Right.
But those are my 8 plus 1.
Donnie, I know that you have some great candidates that you play with, so I'm sure there might be some pressure on your Mount Rushmore coming from your era. But who do you have?
I think Coach Smoot just kind of bailed me out. I'm gonna take his route. So it's a difference for best and my for favor because I don't want no linebackers calling me mad. But man, I think everybody said it. Ruben, especially like during my era, like I said, a lot of the guys I didn't have the opportunity to play with them or be in the locker room with them, and so I couldn't speak to their leadership. So I obviously have a bias in that regard. But man, the way Ruben played the game, the way he led the locker room, just some of the conversations that he had with guys, like the Ruben Foster of the world is what I feel like is missing in the culture right now. Like, just real deal, bro. Like, I'm willing to die for this game, bro. Like you know, Ruben had been through a lot just through his childhood, all through his upbringing. Obviously, his recruiting situation was crazy. But for him to remain humble all through it all, and then he just won a championship like yesterday, I think, if I'm not mistaken, with the USFL. So he's still doing really well. But I take Ruben. I take John Copeland. He was my middle school football coach, and just watching him, he was a dog, bro. He was a dog. I'd take the Miko Ryans, and I'd take Derrick Thomas.
Yeah.
From a honorable mention perspective, I think Sean Dion Hamilton and Dylan Moses, if they're healthy, they're insane. And if you look at what they did, even while just having torn ACLs, they were still in the field for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Like they
were
those
crazy.
guys. Come on, they just understood the game cerebrally, bro. So, and then last but not least, from a real culture perspective and an alpha leader perspective, I'll go to war with Ryan Anderson and Dylan Lee any day of the week, whether we playing football, pickleball, soccer, whatever it may be. Like, those are the type of guys that, like Coach TJ says, you want in your foxhole. And those are guys that, you know, I talked to Ryan a couple of days ago. They're guys that led me when I was a young man and showed me what it meant to really stand on business. Like, we're not here just playing a game. We're here to provide for families back at the crib. And each of the guys that I mentioned that I played with, they were all grown men at 17, 18 years old, and they were moving accordingly. So I got a lot of respect for them.
That's solid. Ty
Yeah.
Hayes, what you got, brother?
So look, I'm gonna do the Saban era because if not, my list is gonna look just like Chris's list, right? I mean, it'd be the same that's why I had to scrap my list and put together a new list. So I'm gonna do Saban era, and kind of like Donnie and Coach Smook did, the linebackers that really stand out for me. Number one, and if y'all know like my beginning of YouTube and everything, I think this is going to be a very easy answer for me. It's Will Anderson. Right. I was doing an internship with Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Check my YouTube page because I made a video on Will Anderson after his first game when they played Missouri, and I titled the video like "Bama has a new super weapon. How did Kirby let him get out of Georgia?" My channel had no subscribers by that January. I think by the end of January I was at 2,000 subscribers, and it all started from that one video. So Will Anderson, easy number one for me. After that, it's Reuben Foster. Y'all talked about pursuit. There's a clip of Reuben Foster that I will never forget, and it was during the USC game. And they ran a little sweep, and the running back just takes it, and he's gone. Reuben beat the damn corner and the edge to the running back and hit him like a speeding missile.
What'd he do, Ty?
I've never seen someone get there that quickly, that violently, where he was perfectly fine with taking out the corner and the edge if it meant getting to that running back. He didn't care. He saw red, and his job was to go get red. We also need to understand this about Reuben Foster. Though his NFL career wasn't very long, when he played his first year, he graded in every statistical category as a top 3 linebacker in the NFL. The only 2 guys that rated higher than him, Bobby Wagner and Luke Kuechly. We're talking Hall of Fame level talent at linebacker, and Reuben's rookie year, he was a hair behind both of them in run stopping efficiency and passing efficiency. Unbelievable at the linebacker position. After that, CJ Mosley. I mean, if we're talking Nick Saban era inside linebackers, I feel like you have to have him on the list, right? What he meant for the culture of Alabama, just sustaining what the guys before him had built and really just taking it to an entirely different level of showing everybody in college football, we're not here for just a short time. We're here to take over. And then after that, Rolando McClain. because of the kind of the same continuation of a CJ Mosley. He set the standard that CJ Mosley and them then came in and really took to a different level for all of college football. So those are my 4.
Can I comment on that real quick, Tyler, with
Please.
McClain?
Please.
So I never played with Rolando. He's probably the Army, but he was around the facility a lot. Him and Coach Cochran had a great relationship, and so he'd be around the locker room a good bit. And then during the pandemic, he's got a house in Tuscaloosa, so like we go over there and hoop all the time. I'm in the weight room one day, and I'm just getting some extra work in, and McClain and a couple other B-Side 5 guys, I couldn't even remember who it was, but McClain is talking, and he's recapping the SEC championship when they played Florida. And obviously, Coach Saban has come out and said this before, like, you don't want a candy striper at linebacker, right? You want a real dog. Like, that's who's setting the tone for the defense. And things that are said inside of the box, y'all know this, like, it's not always reflective of who the person is, but it is reflective of their mentality. Like, when we go out, we say we finna die about it. Like, but we're going to put our life on the line for this game. This man, McClain, says, when I tackled Tebow on the first play, I looked him in his eyes and said, God can't save you here.
Wow.
I love it.
Whoa. Wow.
What? Man, bro, I was scared, and I don't even believe in fear, dog. I was like, you going against that, bro? Like, that's a man that's decided, bro. So I take my hats off to him.
Yeah.
Man.
You gotta look at who Rolando was surrounded by, though. Like, he came in early era Saban. Like, them was thugs. Like to talk about all of them. I mean, for real.
And all them jokers.
All of them, bro. All of them. And then you had the DBs behind them. Them Florida boys started coming in, bringing that swag and that speed with the toughness.
Man, Woodall and all them boys are already on campus.
Come on, man. What's Kane nickname? Mark Barron, what they call him? Head, what they was called? Bro, you had some dogs out there that was just
What the Upshaw? You know what I'm saying? You had some fools.
Why you still naming people, man? Go on.
Yeah, exactly. You're Seamus Hooper.
I'm just talking with Smoot, man. Stop hating, man.
My man pulled up the entire encyclopedia of Alabama linebackers, and it's just going down the list.
He rolled out a scroll.
I'm rolling down a scroll.
Matt,
Hear ye.
Hey, Danny, but I can appreciate you saying D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah,
I can too.
I've ever played with.
Yeah,
he was there when I was there. Hey,
definitely the smartest.
Hey, Matt, what was it? Your boy Mike McCoy used to say: 3 church boys and 8 gangsters.
Yeah,
that's what it takes.
That's it. You gotta have somebody to pray and somebody to cuss somebody out. So. It's a good balance. You gotta have a good balance.
You gotta have some thugs, some church boys.
You gotta mix it all together.
And Matt was one of those gangsters, and it's his turn. What you got? Bessemer,
Alabama. So that's not the Bessemer, Alabama. West Jefferson County in the building.
Yes.
So
you got a Bessemer Bob, Matt. Danny, you got a Bessemer Bob.
Bessemer cut. I can get me a Bessemer cut here shortly. So that's not the Bessemer. D'Amico Ryans, but D'Amico didn't make my list. My number 1 linebacker, Harry Toa Totu, guys.
Man,
such a headhunter.
Put this man on mute, man.
And ladies and gentlemen, we were grateful.
Look, either he was going or I was going because I
immediately tired.
Hey, my credibility.
We would like to apologize to everybody out there for this.
We're sorry, chat.
I'm just playing, right? No, my list is
that's our hot take next week.
My list is simple. Derrick Thomas, Reuben Foster, Woody Lowe, Cornelius Bennett. That's where I'm leaving it right there. So I'm done after that.
You are done. And next week you'll be
where's
interviewing for your job.
That'll be getting his last paycheck, his last pay stub in the mail.
Oh dang, Matt, you got the chat fired up.
LC.
Fake news.
I agree,
Man.
I think, Brian.
Dan James, help us to forget about what Matt just did.
Listen, y'all. I'm just gonna keep it real. I'm going all time Bama. It's Mount Rushmore, so I'm going all time Bama.
All right.
my two outside guys. I got Derrick Thomas. I got Will Anderson.
Woo!
I'm going with inside. I'm going with
Disgusting.
Woodrow Lowe and Biscuit. Cornelius Bennett.
Dang,
Oh
that's a
my
tough lineup.
God.
Nah, if I would have thought
That's
to
it.
do it like that,
Find me a better four, I challenge. But I'm gonna give an honorable mention because I got a guy that he had two guys that haven't received any loves, and Chris took one of them. And that's Nico Johnson and Reggie Ragland. Peace. What's up, my guys?
Man, you gotta give all the boys love.
Well, you did. Yeah, you dang 100 of them.
I mean,
man.
nobody said
know.
Malcolm Wilson since we saying honorable mentions. Nobody said Malcolm Wilson. He was
If it was a list of hard hitters, Mac would be up there.
Yeah.
But he was a crazy athlete too. Mac had like 6 picks during his time.
LSU in the end zone.
Because Matt was just out there playing Robert the whole game. He ain't believe it. Matt,
He was what?
30-30, he just did what he wanted to do, and he just happened to be in position. He's still doing it. He, like you said, he's a big athlete.
Like that Clemson pick, he wasn't supposed to be there, bro.
No,
He wasn't. He wasn't supposed to.
He looked up and caught the ball. It's like, oh.
And then you did announce it, Mac Wilson, Mac Williams. Nah, it's Mac Wilson, bro.
Great list. Mal,
What's yours?
mine. All right. Go ahead and throw it out there. Derrick Thomas. And with my vote, Derrick Thomas is the unanimous pick of the entire panel.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
with great reason. 52 sacks career, which is still an NCAA record. Then I move on to Will Anderson, Cornelius Bennett, and this name has not been mentioned tonight. And he does need some love. That's Keith McCants.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I saw a
very good.
highlight of Keith McCants. I saw a highlight of him versus Auburn, and he chased the running back down, walked him down 70 yards. And I was like, this dude is unreal. So Keith McCants,
Yes.
RIP, he just passed not too long ago, right?
Yeah, last year.
Last year. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
And he played for a terrible
He did.
Tampa Bay organization,
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
No doubt. My honorable mention, since everybody's throwing out 20 names like Chris James, Leroy Jordan, Woodrow Lowe, C.J. Mosley, and D'Amico Ryans.
All right.
That
I got one more name.
great
for you.
segment, guys.
Salim
Great
Rashid.
segment.
Salim
Salim.
Rashid.
Show some love to Salim, no doubt.
Tim
All right.
Williams.
Now,
What's
this
up,
is
Darius
where-
Gilbert?
Darius
D. That's my boy, Dan. Darren
Yes,
Gilbert.
sir.
Oh,
DG.
DG.
Brooks
Yeah,
Daniels.
Salim and Darius.
Brooks Daniels.
Brooks
Oh,
Daniels, yeah.
Hey, brother.
Them are my
Hey.
guys, man.
They don't know
Dwayne-
about Brooks, man. Brooks.
Dwayne Rudd.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Very good.
I'm sorry, Dwayne.
All right. Now, this is where things are going to start getting a little controversial. All eyes have been on the quarterback situation ever since Bryce entered into the NFL, or even before that. So the top names, Ty Simpson, Jalen Milroe, and now Tyler Buckner. But there's a name that might be rising through the ranks that we hadn't considered. He had quite an impressive spring game. 8-day game, kind of showed out, showed some poise, showed some toughness, showed some smarts. That's Dylan Lonergan. Is this a name that might surprise us all and rise up and take over? I know that Chris James is a big fan of him, and he spoke often of him. We're going to let him start. Then I'm going to move to Donnie Lee, because, Donnie, you've been
I want
out there
Donnie
on the
to
field.
start. I want
Okay,
to
Donnie,
start.
we'll let Donnie start,
He's a
because
guy.
you're up there. You see what's going on in practice. You understand what these guys are really about. You can evaluate some guys. How can he be a possible consideration to maybe make a strong move and do the unthinkable? Then we'll go to Chris, and then Matt, Dan, Coach Smook, and Ty.
I think we all know that, Coach Saban doesn't really believe in seniority or anything like that, right? He's going to play the best guy. I think Blake Barnett learned that probably harder than anybody else when he got one drop.
Yeah.
Let's go. Oh, darn it.
Coach took it over. And so, man, from what I've seen at practice, we talked about this before, Justin. All the quarterbacks look good at practice because all the quarterbacks have on black at practice. And they also have on black at 8A. So it's very hard to be able to tell who's the leader of the team and who can actually throw the ball under pressure during those practices, during those scrimmages. From from what I've been told, he's been working with the second tier guys. So we've got like 3 QB1s, and then we've got 2 to 3 QB2s. And so Dylan's been running with that second group, but that doesn't mean that Jalen was running with the second group going through this time of the year, his true freshman season as well, right? And so I think camp is really the determinating factor to see how guys handle themselves during camp, how they pick up the playbook. I have a really good relationship with Dylan. He's going to keep for that job. But if I personally had to guess, man, I think we're going to see a lot of toxicity. Obviously, Tommy Reese is there, so he's not bringing in his own quarterback for no reason. But I think it'll be a true competition, and no one will know who's starting outside of Nick Saban. Not through week 1, but really truly not until we take the field against Texas.
Fair enough. Chris James,
Tommy Reese won't even know.
You've always been a big fan of Dylan Lonergan.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Dylan Lonergan because he did what he did in 7A football in Georgia. Everybody knows 7A football in Georgia and the highest level in Alabama. That's like the closer you're going to get to SEC football. And but it's just that it's something about baseball players, man. You know what I'm saying? Baseball players have a different type of moxie to them. You have your gym rats like AJ McCarron, and you have your baseball guys that just have that it factor, something about them. But I think that the route for him to the field is if none of the 3 grab the reins, grab the bull by the horn, and take the job. But I believe that if he can have good scrimmages in fall camp, don't turn the ball over. What you turn the ball over, you might as well cancel Christmas on any of them. You turn the ball over. You know, Saban don't play that. But if he takes care of the ball and can show that he can distribute the ball to the receivers, get them in the right checks, he probably won't be given a lot of checks, you know, like a lot of freedom like Bryce and those other guys since he's a freshman. But I mean, any quarterback can do a simple run check. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of deal. But if he can get him, he's smart enough to do that. So if he can take care of the ball and just make those throws to show that he can distribute the ball to Bun and those guys like that, he'll be nipping at some heels, man. If he picks up where he left off from spring, I think he'll be nipping at some heels come fall camp. And if it's close down the stretch, man, that pressure burst pipes, man. And you know that's what's gonna separate whoever's gonna be our guys, our top 2 or whatnot from the rest of the pack. I think it's gonna boil down to those scrimmages. That's gonna tell it all.
Matt, you're a guy who likes a quarterback with moxie and confidence. You know, he definitely demonstrated that in the spring game and throughout practice. You had a guy like that too, named Brody Kroll.
12.
A
He
guy
wears
who kind
number
of
12. 12 is special at the University of Alabama. So.
not quite as big as Dylan Lonergan, that physically, but kind of the same mentality, kind of the same mindset. A guy that believes he can throw a football through a car wash and it won't get wet. What do you like about him? And what could shock the world?
You know, what I like about him, kind of what everybody else said, you know, him being a 2-sport athlete, you know, those baseball guys, when we grew up, baseball guys tend to be some of your better athletes, especially baseball quarterback guys, you know, they really cocky. You know, I can make every throw, so they know how to play within the team. And, you know, to Donnie Lee's point, you know, I think Donnie said it best, you know, we got tier 1 guys, which is the top 3 guys, Milroe, Simpson, Buckner. But I think Lonergan Coach Saban's going to use Lonergan kind of to push the older guys. You know, he won't, because he's going to show. I think Lonergan's the type player that has that moxie, can take command of the offense. And, you know, Saban the type, he'll play some mental games with the quarterbacks to get them right. So he won't be surprised if the quarterback comes up the depth chart, i.e. McElroy, AJ McCarron. You know, McElroy is about to get benched that year we won a national championship. But
AJ.
You know, AJ, because AJ was doing so well, you know, in practice. So for me, I think Lonergan has a lot of potential. And like Chris said, ball security, ball security, ball security. If we whoever doesn't turn the ball over, get us in the right play, that's who's going to play. And I think, to Donnie's point, I think it's going to be one of those top 3 guys that's going to find out which one. And like I said, I think Coach Saban can use Lonergan to kind of leverage his talents to push the top 3 guys. So that's my 2 cents about it.
Okay. Final whistle, Dan. You followed him in recruiting, and like your brother said, the level of quarterback play in Georgia football, 7A, is something that should be taken notice of. I mean, that's basically like college football light, right? So what kind of confidence do you draw from him, and can he make that kind of move?
Let me tell you, this is what, the sample size that we got from him. But what stood out to me when I watched the spring game, one was poise. His command of the offense impressed me. His quick decision making, his release, and his accuracy. All of those, were exceptional to me. The thing is he going to be able to, like we say, take the bull by the horn? Is he going to be able to lead the older guys? Those things will remain to be seen, but he definitely a guy that I can see running our offense.
I like it. Coach Smoot, how do you feel about him? Sell Dylan Lonergan to our audience right now.
Dylan Lonergan, he showed us a day that he's more than capable of, grasping the concepts of what Alabama is asking him to do. He delivered the ball to the receivers when they were open. He was making his reads timely. His posture in the pocket looked better than Simpson and Milroe at points. Granted, he was playing against third string, whatever, but it's still football. It's still competition. You still have to play football. And that's what I don't like to see when people try to compare quarterbacks based off of the level of competition they play, because you got some quarterbacks that go out there and they'll play a lesser talented team, and the team could just scheme and do their job. Nothing special, just do their job. And the quarterback, because he knows he's the better athlete, can make uncharacteristic plays. I didn't see that from Lonergan. I didn't see him trying to force those. I didn't see him trying to prove a point other than I'm going to do my job at a efficient rate. And when you have a quarterback like that we know can expose or present his talents when it's needed, that's a good thing to have, and a guy that, when you want to shake things up, like you guys have been alluded to with your previous comments. But you talk about him being a baseball guy. A lot of people forget Jalen Hurts was a baseball guy. True freshman, came in behind the quote unquote starter, Blake Barnett. And I think who else was in front of Hurts that year? It was Blake Barnett, and was it Bateman in front of him?
Cooper Bateman,
and one more. Was it?
It was Alec Morris, Cornwell.
David Cornwell, Alec Morris.
Yep.
Yep.
He was number 5.
I was going to beat the North Texas right after that, but they was there during that point. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I mean, like it was one of those things where I think the biggest thing is just being able to show that you understand what's needed of you, and that's what Jalen Hurts did. When we had to start Jalen Hurts, guess what the coordinator did? He broke the offense down to make it fit for Jalen Hurts. This is what we taught you to do. This is what you're comfortable with. We're going to maximize this and continue to help you grow and set you up for success. And we heard all the buzz around Jalen Hurts when he got on campus, just about his athleticism, but his composure was the thing that came out when he finally had to take snaps in live gameplay. So you talk about a guy like Lonergan, if what he was able to, the type of composure he was able to show in this A-Day game, if he's able to do something like that, and just say Milroe, Simpson, all these guys struggle, somebody gets injured, Buckner's not that guy, I wouldn't mind having Lonergan with the amount of athletes and the skill sets that we have around him. I wouldn't mind having a Lonergan right there. It just creates a different type of hype and energy for a team, because you talking about guys like, man, this is the freshman. I got to make the catch now. Like, I got to get open now. That's usually the mentality, especially I know at receiver, that's how it was. Once the younger guy in, you want him to be your buddy. You know what I'm saying? You want him to be like, yeah, I remember you seeing. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing. If it does happen, not likely, but it could. And if it did, I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be confused by it. I wouldn't see nothing wrong with it.
Okay. Ty, you have the honor of going last in this situation. What kind of take do you have on this? Is it similar to what we've heard from these other gentlemen, or is there a side of it we haven't heard quite yet?
So very similar. Look, here's the interesting thing. There's probably not a better time for an open quarterback competition than when you've moved to a new offensive coordinator, an offensive coordinator that's much more conducive to college success. Because let's be honest, I've been railing against this since Bill O'Brien was hired. It was the first thing I questioned about Bill O'Brien 2 years ago. Will he be implementing the option routes? And if yes, to what degree? We now know the answer was yes, and we now know that it caused a lot more headaches than solutions. And I think that makes sense when you're dealing with trying to work with guys over a period of like 1 or 2 years. I digress, though. The main point I'm trying to make here is this. There's not a quarterback on roster outside of Tyler Buchner that's worked with Tommy Rees. So this is a great opportunity for a young guy like a Dylan Lonergan who came in here and showed the moment was not too bright for him during the course of the spring game. I think everybody has hit the nail on the head. Whoever wins the job will be who doesn't turn the ball over. That's going to be the biggest thing with this offense. And I'm really interested to see how that ends up playing itself out, right? Because we looked at like a Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe. We know what they both bring to the table. Ty Simpson is probably like the all-around quarterback. Jalen Milroe has the unreal upside. And Tyler Buchner is an interesting case as well. I think the one thing Dylan Lonergan provides is he's got the youth and the confidence right now going into it. And I think that was on display in the A game. And when I say confidence, I don't mean he was forcing throws. When I say confidence, he was confident that this is the correct decision. And he was very quick in making those decisions. So I would expect one of the 3 guys to take the reins just because they have more experience. And we have to remember Jalen Milroe just got done working out with all these wide receivers, building up that connection with all these guys. And the staff just got done talking about how they're looking for a quarterback to spread it around. That relationship Jalen Milroe is building with these receivers could be massive, akin to the Blake Sims year. But this is a great position to be in, having a young quarterback like a Dylan Lonergan who's shown I'm absolutely in this battle.
I like that. Before we close it out, Donnie, I want to ask you a question. I think one of the most underrated aspects of the game is something that you take pride in, and that's the leadership aspect, the locker room, winning the locker room, leading these young men. How big of a factor does that play? Look, I know we all look at the stats. We're all about the glamorous side of the game, but how big of a factor is the leadership aspect?
Well, man, it's huge, and especially when you're considering the quarterback position. But honestly, man, I think one of the common misconceptions is that your quarterback is your indubitable leader, right? Like the year that Jalen Hurts was our starting quarterback, that wouldn't hurt his team. He was a start quarterback, don't get us wrong, and he was at that position, so he touched the ball every snap. But like Hurts didn't speak much, and he wasn't asked to speak much. He was still a true freshman who was still understanding the culture, and his job was just to do his 1 of 11, and he did a really good job doing his 1 of 11. And I think that whoever steps into the position this year, outside of Jalen Milroe, it's going to be very difficult for them to take on a leadership perspective, especially during the offseason, because they don't know each other. Like they all just met, and so they've got to build that rapport. And then as the season progresses, I think whoever that guy is will have the opportunity to further instill himself as the leader. But it's about servant leadership at the end of the day, man. Like leading with your actions. How often are you in there? Like the year that Mac Jones beat out Bryce for the starting job, none of the receivers wanted to work with Mac. Mac would text me, but hey, bro, you got some high school receivers that can run routes with you. All the starting receivers from that year were training solely with Bryce, and that's nothing personal against Mac, but everybody and their mom had decided that Bryce was going to be the starting quarterback. And so Mac kept working and, again, practicing that servant leadership. He won the starting job and was a great mentor to Bryce throughout that entire process. And I think that's how he instilled himself and established himself, as a leader. And so whoever takes on the realm this upcoming time, they've got to do it based off their own subjective leadership style. Mac led differently from Tua. Tua led differently from Jalen, and so forth and so forth. So just figuring out whatever that subjective leadership style is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Love how you close that.
You better preach.
That's some good info, man. We didn't know that about Matt. That's good info.
Yeah, you dropping insider nuggets, man.
Only on the final whistle, people.
That's
Only
it.
on the final whistle.
Y'all subscribe.
Which is a great time for everybody to hit that like and subscribe button.
Yeah.
Where else can you find this, Clint Lamb? So,
Hey.
as we get towards the end of our show, we always like to go on the lighter side of things. And it's a segment that Coach Smook has inspired. It's called Logical or Losing It. So we're going to let him start things out.
So we just gonna glaze over that.
That's that's what we're looking at right now. This is the segment right here. Matt, you caught that, right?
I called it.
Hey, we're not. No, this is the segment. What? Who? I'm just playing. We're not gonna do that. But anyway, yeah, logical or losing it. Look, chat. Y'all know, as a Bama fan base, we have our moments. We panic. We say crazy things. We kind of just throw stuff out. We sound like Georgia fans and Florida fans and Auburn fans. Like we just say stupid stuff and expect it to make sense all the time because it don't feel good, you know. But we gotta reel this thing back in and we gotta use some logic, man. So it's been a couple statements made. Justin, can you read the statement?
Blow him up, Justin. Blow him up. Blow Smook up, man.
Man, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this.
Pause.
Give him a screen, man. Give him the whole
which one we gonna do, y'all? Because I wanted to talk about the guy that was talking crazy about the Julian Sayings comments we was making last week. And guys, it's certain things, and I can't even remember the guy's name. Julian Saying hasn't thrown a pass in college football. Give the guy time to grow. He doesn't have a chance to be the starter. Wow. You want me to tell you why that's crazy to me? Because every year that we've had a top quarterback come on campus, no matter, and it's been Tua. Jalen Hurts wasn't even a top quarterback. He was a steal. But when we had Tua, when we had Bryce, when we had Blake Barnett, who was a top rated quarterback, all these guys came on campus and they got an opportunity to compete for the starting position. Most of them guys, Tua was ready. Honestly, we saw Vanderbilt game. Tua was ready. You know what I'm saying? Tua was ready, Vanderbilt game. But Jalen Hurts hadn't given us a reason to give up the starting position. So that's the only thing that worked against Tua. But we saw what happened once Tua got put in under them lights. We saw what happened. And Tua played a lot of snaps that year. Y'all go look at the passing stats for Tua that year when Jalen was the starter. He had the better passing stats, and it wasn't like no 200-300 yards. I think Tua had like 700 passing yards that year. Like he was going crazy with mop up duty. So that goes to tell you. And then you talking about Bryce Young had the same opportunity in a COVID year, guys. In a COVID year, Bryce got snaps in 2020. You know, and we handled a full SEC schedule, and Bryce was getting snaps. So you trying to tell me Coach Saban, Tommy Reed's not going to want to see what Julian Saying could do in some live action? Especially if he come to the spring game and blow it up. You know what I'm saying? So all you got to do is turn on the film for Julian Sayings. Turn on the film. It's so much film out there on this guy, and it ain't because it's hype. This guy's legit, man. When I say the ball placement, y'all know I don't ride the hype. Y'all know me. I'm all against that. But this guy ain't no hype about Julian Sayings. So if you doubting anything that we've been putting out about Julian Sayings, you're losing your mind.
Well, what I wanted to interject, which has to do with the quarterback, anytime I've gotten into conversations when it comes to defending Jalen Milroe or maybe another quarterback, I'll bring up the fact that Blake Sims followed the same kind of journey. And let's look at how his career turned out. And in arguments defending, I'm always thrown what fans think a trump card is, well, he didn't win a natty. And they've even said, and they are saying that to be considered an all-time great at Alabama at quarterback, you have to win a national championship. And some have even said that Bryce Young can't be considered as the greatest of all time because he didn't win a natty.
My man won a Heisman while running for his life.
Thank you.
As a starter.
With Bill O'Brien as his offensive coordinator.
While running from his life. That offensive line was not good.
With no running backs.
we all talk about how bad the Texas offensive line was that year. The Alabama offensive line graded by every metric available significantly worse than the Texas.
The worst
offensive
under
line.
Saban. The worst under
It was
Saban.
bad. It was bad.
I mean, he carved Georgia, the greatest, the historical
Greatest
defense.
defense.
You know what I'm saying? Let them tell it.
I'm sorry, Justin. I didn't mean to do that. That's ridiculous.
It just goes to show you people don't really watch football for what it is. You know, a majority of the football fan base doesn't really watch football for what it is, and they don't understand what goes into decision making at the quarterback position at the University of Alabama against SEC opponents. You know, week in and week out for 8-9 weeks. What is it? 8 weeks? 9 weeks out of your 13 game season. So you got a guy like Bryce Young, you know, saying he's not the GOAT for what he had to deal with. We had teams with better offensive linemen that didn't produce the type of passing stats and the type of season that Bryce Young did. So how do you even come on, Doc?
No disrespect to these guys I'm about to mention, but can you
everybody is a genius. Okay.
Well, no disrespect to these guys I'm about to mention, but can, with all logic, you say that Jay Barker or Greg McElroy was significantly better than a Bryce Young or a Blake Sims?
No.
If you do, then we need to talk about some things before the season starts. But I had a comment say we base our success off natties. Thinking like this means we never win another one as long as we had the best quarterback ever. Make it make sense.
You're right.
Man,
Oh,
like
Jay Coker, the best quarterback ever.
Man, put it like this, man. Put Bryce on that 2017 team with Robert Foster, Cam Sims, Judy Ridley,
My God.
Devontae. My God.
When they was freshmen.
Greatest show on turf.
Najee Harris,
Smith.
Najee Harris, your third back.
Najee was fourth back because you remember it was Bo.
Oh yeah,
it was Bo,
Damian,
and Josh Jacobs.
yeah.
Oh my God.
And Najee was your fourth back, man.
Jesus.
And Brian Robinson was your fifth back.
And Brian Robinson.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? You had Irv Smith at tight end. The same Irv that scored on the first play of the game against Arkansas.
Right.
Like, could you imagine Bryce with those weapons, man?
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand an argument for AJ McCarron because I mean it's hard to argue his resume. You know what I'm saying? And you put AJ worked with much less than any of these other quarterbacks did except for Bryce. Because Bryce really, and it wasn't about talent, it was more so about experience.
Yeah.
With Bryce, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of those guys really didn't have, too much experience because once Mechie and Jameson went down, you saw what we had to deal with,
Dang, they had Ronnie Clark on that roster too.
Yeah.
Ronnie was a six back.
Damian Harris. Yeah, I just had to pull it up because it's oh my God.
See, but I'm gonna say this, man. Everybody, all Bama fans are geniuses until they open their mouth or tweet. Just leave it at that.
Shivers and Cam Sims was out there.
We all
up duty.
Hey, let me pose the question too. If you take any of these quarterbacks away from their prospective team, what happens? You take away Greg McElroy from his team, do we still win a natty? Yeah. If you take Bryce Young away from the teams he was on, what's our record?
Not in the conversation.
9-3, 8-4.
8-4s. We looking like Florida.
Yeah, you take away McElroy, you got McCarron. You take away who came after McCarron? Blake, wasn't it Blake?
Yeah, Blake and Coker.
It was Blake, then Coker, then Jake. I mean, we had a history, like we had next man up, but shoot, Bryce got hurt. You saw what happened when Bryce got hurt. We was in a dang old dog fight with A&M.
Yep.
At home in Bryant, didn't he? With A&M.
A lot of that was just due to poor scheme. That was just due to poor scheme. A lot of it. Because ain't no way you see that man breaking 14, 15-yard scrambles and not running a read option with Jahmyr Gibbs Jace McClellan rotate. Ain't no way you're not doing that.
Bill O'Brien.
Hey, and off subject a little
Don't
bit.
get me started.
Would it be crazy for me to say that
Don't get
Jameer
tired.
Gibbs was the most underutilized? Like it's how we didn't utilize Gibbs, man. Like, could you imagine Sarks with Gibbs?
Oh, Kiffin.
Oh, dear
Kiffin was-
gosh.
Kiffin.
If only we would have taken him out of high school.
Oh my! That's what I told
Almost
Dan.
had him. We
We
almost
told
had
Dan
him.
that.
Man.
Yeah, we took what's the boy?
Yeah,
that
We
you
out
talked
of-
about it.
wrong. We rolled wrong.
No, we took that boy out of Louisiana,
Edwards, right?
Kyle Edwards or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Kyle
Oh,
Edwards.
God, dog.
We
Donnie,
messed
do you
up
want
on
to close out this segment and inject some wisdom into Bama Nation? And then we can move into our closing segment.
For sure. Man, everybody, Peace Out positively knows this, bro. But Bama fans are hella spoiled. Like, that's not normal, bro. Like, a guy can only control his 1 of 11. He can't control like you take Bryce, right? You guys are talking about the option route. And the Natty, when he was playing Georgia, I seen one route where it's a hitch, but it converts against press to a go, right? That's just common knowledge, whether you're in the NFL or college ball, right? I can't remember who the guy is, the receiver that did all the crying about getting playing time, and then when he got in, he couldn't catch nothing. Ajayi Hall.
Ajayi Hall.
It's cold.
So he's supposed to convert the route. He doesn't convert it. Bryce throws to go. He runs the hitch. It's third down. It's turnover on downs, right? We end up losing that game, and Bryce doesn't have a national championship because of small, trivial things like that, right? That compound throughout the game. It's a game of inches. So I think Bryce is the greatest quarterback to ever play the University of Alabama. If you look at it just statistically, if you look at it in terms of biomechanics, I think Tua is the most statistically accomplished quarterback in that. I also think that Tua is the most naturally gifted overall in terms of running style, in terms of running ability, passing ability, things of that nature. And he can throw a lot off base. You guys talked about that earlier with Dylan, like those baseball guys. And Tua played baseball when he was extremely young, not in high school, but he's also a lefty, and being able to throw like Pat Mahomes can off base, bro. Like, you don't need to get both of your feet set. Like, you can throw from wherever you're at. And so I also think it's important to acknowledge that Bryce was better because of Mac, and Mac was better because of Tua, and Tua was better because of Jalen, and Jalen was so forth and so forth, right? And so we want the guys to get better than us, right? We want to stand on the shoulders of giants, and that's one of the things I think is unique about Bama's culture is that you get guys that are competing for the same job, and as counterintuitive as it is, they're all helping each other beat each other out. Like, it's almost as if they don't know, bro. I'm trying to take your job, but it's like, all right, bro. Like, the better you are, the better I'm going to be. Iron sharpens iron. I'm gonna plead the fifth in terms of answering who I would pick, like greatest quarterback of all time in that one. I'm a receiver, and those are my best friends, and I love all of them. As long as I'm getting the ball, I'm happy.
You got to put this man on the ballot.
Come on.
Politician all day.
Oh my God, man, he's gonna be a great one. He's gonna be a great one.
That's it, Mayor of Tuscaloosa. It's coming.
Donnie Lee.
I know how you get Donnie. We're gonna do a Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks.
And you're gonna lead the discussion next week.
I had about 2 years ago.
He played with.
About 2 years ago, Coach Nalu, Tua's dad, and we did a camp out in Utah, and it was around the same time as Mac's draft party. And so obviously Coach Nalu, he doesn't care about the draft. He don't even know the draft's about to come up. He's got his son into the league, and he's working to get Talia into the league. And so he's like, Donnie, we got this camp. We're going to go out to Salt Lake City. So I'm like, all right, for sure, let's do it. So we get everything booked and whatnot. We're about to fly out. And Mac sends me a text, and he sends me an invite to his draft party. His pre-draft party, excuse me. And so I text him. I'm like, bro, I'm sorry, dog. I gotta go. We're finna do this camp to Coach Nalu Talia. Now we're going out there. And he goes, yeah, I know who your favorite quarterback is now. Bye. I'm like, dog, they're so y'all know how those quarterbacks are, bro.
Yeah.
I love all of them.
That's awesome.
That's good stuff, man.
That's a clip
Hey,
right there.
that's funny, bro. Because I don't know if y'all when Earl was playing QB high school, we used to had these little discussions and it get real bad. Phoenix City, Columbus area, it get real bad talking about who the GOATs. You know, you always.
Hey,
and
Martin
so-
Auburn, baby.
Yeah,
Martin
me
Auburn,
too.
baby. Come
Same.
on,
Fort
come
Benning,
on,
baby.
come
You know what I'm
on,
saying?
come
1990.
on.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so man, let me tell you, it's funny seeing, you know, like Earl get mentioned and people just crazy. But Earl's lived behind me, you know, when he was at Central. So I used to be out there getting them bullets in my chest. You know what I'm saying?
Come on,
Earl had
come on.
yeah. So we had a Facebook discussion probably like 4 years ago, and they was like best out of Phoenix City. And I ain't put Earl name on in my comment, man. I think you was on the post too, Donnie.
You get a
He
call.
hit me up on Facebook Messenger, bro.
He ain't
That ain't
playing
look
that.
cool. That's how it is. Bet.
Earl was cold, man. Hey, Earl was cold, man.
I ain't gonna lie, when y'all started dropping the 2017 receivers, I got kind of hurt.
Hey, Donnie.
They took the leg off when it tore my ACL. Y'all forgot 85. Justin had me back in the day.
Hey, Smoot.
85.
Hey, they talk about Justin Ross, Phoenix City receivers and stuff, but hey, one of the greatest to ever do it was Trey and Luke, baby.
Oh yeah. Hey,
Tree Luke.
What's up?
let
One
me
of the
tell
best
you,
to ever do it out of Phoenix City.
man. Let me tell you, Tree Luke had them McKissick boys.
Nick
McKissick
Nick
boys.
brothers. Nick and Red. Nick and Kelsey.
Man,
And Nick coaches the running back at Minnesota.
it's some talent out here, bro. Well,
Yeah,
I
Can
ain't
I
really
say-
out there no more, but yeah.
receiver right now is Cam Jordan. I want to say he's a 4-star, 5-star receiver.
Cam
out of Central
Coleman?
Tennessee.
Cam
Cole.
Coleman.
That's like
Cam
Coleman. Yes, sir.
The
Yeah,
number one
dog.
receiver in the country. They got him number one, ranked number one in the
And
country.
Mello over at Central too.
Oh,
I think it's-
Carmelo English. Who did he
Yeah.
sign with? Auburn?
I don't even know.
Who
But
did
I know
Carmelo
he was
English
solid
sign
in
with?
that
He
little
signed
indoor
with
league I was
Auburn.
playing against him in. That boy nasty.
I think it was Auburn.
Can I say this? If you put Bryce on the 2017 team, it's like
my
when
God.
it's like when Thanos got his fifth stone,
All the fingers stone.
and he sits down. That's how unreal Bryce on that 2017 team would be. But I'm done.
All right. Well, it's time to move on to our closing segment, where we go around the room and promote what we have. We also open the floor for the OnlyFans discussion, the ultimate NIL deal. So this will be a great time for everybody in the chat to find out what their handles are and the promo codes. We're going to start with Final Whistle Dan. Then we're going to move to Matt Cadell, Chris James, then Diane Lee, Coach Smoot. Ty Hayes is going to finish things up. Dan, how can folks find you on social media? What you got coming up?
You see it right there in front of me. At Final Whistle Dan on Twitter. And I'm running a special on my OnlyFans, man. You know what I'm saying? A promo code, throw them up, bust them up. Let's go.
That's hilarious. Throw them up, bust them up. Hit up Final Whistle Dan. I'm gonna go next. Monday nights Football University. But at the end of the day, it's all about the Final Whistle with the All-Star panel. Again, thanks Donnie Lee showing up tonight. It was an honor and a privilege. This week, my OnlyFans is called Backfield in Motion with Matt Cadell. Promo code hip to hip.
Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all Bates OnlyFans name after we get done. All right, man.
Does it have the word master in it?
Hey, all right, man. You can find me on Facebook at Chris K. James Sr. On Instagram at CKJ30 Senior 32, and you can find me on Twitter at Coach Chris James. And this week I'm running my special on my OnlyFans, called Pick Her Up.
The Fast and the Furious, 32 seconds.
Dayhawk.
The quick out.
Lumpy potato. Hey, but yeah,
The quick
man.
stream.
But, y'all hot route. The hot route. Add me on. I need some more followers though, guys, on my Twitter at Coach Fish James. I'm more of a Facebook guy. You know, Dunny, I gotta add you, buddy. On Facebook, man. I be having to go through my list because they stopped it at 5,000, friends, and I had 5,000 friends since like 2008, something like that. So I've just been having to recycle. So
Facebook just won't let you be great.
It won't let me be great, man. I probably have about 50,000 right now, seriously. Yeah, seriously. But y'all follow me on Twitter though. Y'all follow me on Twitter though. Next week I'm gonna reveal Dan's costume for his next show.
Oh,
Donnie Lee, the guest of honor. You've got a lot of things going on, so please take the floor. Oh, dear Lord.
Dan's gonna be this week. Big baby. That's all the fans like, big baby.
No, he gonna have them old school Pampers with the clothespins.
Yeah.
Clothespin.
And come out with the mitten in the bottle.
But Donnie, you got a lot of things going on. Tell people how they can find you on social media. What's going on with the lab? You got a summer full of things to do. And tell them about some prospects you got coming up, and who the fans need to be on the lookout for.
For sure, man. For sure. So have a lot of great guys that we're currently working with. Guys just picking up offers, going on the recruiting trail. One of our guys that was getting recruited by Bama did just commit to Ole Miss, TJ Banks. But the recruitment is still open, and so to be transparent with you guys. We all know how this game goes. We know that at the end of the day, it's still a business, and so I don't personally get into leading guys in terms of where they should go to school. If they ask me their opinions on certain coaches or things of that nature, I keep it real and transparent, but I also let them know that you can't really commit to a coach because that coach could very well be at another school the next semester. And so my loyalties always lie to the players before before any institution. As much as I love Alabama, I love those boys. I love those boys more. But man, we're doing a lot of NIL work with some of the current Bama guys. We just had an event, a charity event where Jermaine Burton, Tony Mitchell, J.C. Latham, Terrion Arnold, Tim Smith, Sawyer Dearman, we all went out to a charity golf event where we raised funds for financial literacy awareness, things of that nature. Next month we'll be doing a kids community event that's free of charge for everyone in the city that Jermaine Burton is hosting, just for a way to give back to the community. Oh snap! I gotta grab my charger. I'm about to die on me. But we've got a recruiting summit coming up this Thursday at Shelton Stage, free of charge. We've got hosts from Rivals on 3. Kyle Henderson will be there. We'll talk to guys about the recruiting process and getting people to understand you don't got to pay $1,000 to get recruited, right? You just got to put the work in, and the eye in the sky don't lie, and you'll take it from there. I apologize if my computer ends up dying. I'm not sure.
That's all right.
That's about it my way, man. Just trying to trust the process and stacking those days. I know how it is. Is
Trust the Process the name of your OnlyFans?
It is. No, but it is my so my personal podcast is the process podcast. You guys will check that. I gotta get y'all on there, man. We're shooting it out of Brian Denny, so I'd love to get you guys all over there, man. Continue to tell us involved. I love this.
Tell the fans again where they can find that. How can they jump on that, sir?
Yes, sir. So we're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. My personal Instagram is Donnie Lee Jr. and my Twitter is Donnie Lee Jr. 85. Follow me. I'll try to follow back. And I appreciate all the support for sure.
Cool, Donnie.
Awesome. We're definitely going to hook up with that. Everybody in the chat, y'all heard him. Get involved with that. I expect y'all to be involved with everybody on this panel. Coach Smook, you got 1,000 things going on, including your football coaching on TikTok. Tell the fan, which is very entertaining late at night. If y'all need something to watch, it's definitely worth investing in. But tell the folks how they can find you on all forms of social media.
Yeah, man. Just go check your boy out at Coach Smook on all platforms. We dying down on Facebook. We got some different opportunities coming up on different platforms. Oh man, here go Red again. Yeah, Red. Wait. All right, y'all. Listen, Coach Smook on everything. We dying out of Facebook. We got some opportunities coming up on some other platforms. if you all have been on YouTube, you've been seeing the Kick advertisements. That's a platform that I plan to take the final whistle and our content, start pushing it over on that side. It's blowing up. It's a thing. So be looking out for kick.com, man. Create your accounts now, because once it takes off, you don't want to have to be paying for it. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and create it while it's in beta. And then just here, man, on YouTube, keep checking us out, man. The final whistle here on the Bama Standard YouTube channel. It's crazy, man. It's how much activity we're generating, how much the fan base is interacting with us, how much we're growing. You look at a lot of shows that surround what we do and what we try to give you content on, and they're not doing it like us. And even they're saying it. They're giving us those props. So we definitely appreciate y'all for showing up every week. And definitely pull up on my Wet Whistle Wednesdays on my OnlyFans with Coach Smook up in the film room. Y'all see it's the red light special. Tonight you can pull up to the red light stop and go. We running rub routes all night. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna teach y'all how to run them rub routes to the T. I'm gonna teach you how to cross your T's and dot your I's and put the little squiggly things in the Q's. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we doing. It's your boy Coach Smook. Roll Tide.
His guest gonna be Anita Bath.
Coach Smook's boom boom room.
When them lights get to switching colors like this, you know it's on, bro. You know it's on.
Chris, your promo code is not working. I'm trying to log on to your OnlyFans. What'd you say? What's your promo code? This never happened before.
I'm sorry, but this doesn't usually happen.
Wow, watch out there, Coach.
Oh,
with his wallet out.
Hey, we gotta get it how we live, baby. It's hard times out here.
You, man.
That's hard time.
Hey, Ray, he gonna pray with him.
Come on, let me lay hands on you.
I just want it to be known, Auburn attempted a coup against their former head coach because of what they considered to be a character that was derelict of moral turpitude, right? Basically saying, we want to get this guy out of here because we think he's having an extramarital affair, only for them to turn around and bring in Hugh Freeze, which is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. But
bro, Auburn is funny.
That's neither here nor there. You can find me at Around the
Auburn
Table.
gonna Auburn.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing constant college football content. Today we drop videos on just about everybody from Texas to Oklahoma to USC. We talk some Alabama. We talk some Clemson. We talk some Nebraska today. Tomorrow we're talking more USC. We're talking more recruiting. Alabama trending for an offensive lineman. So, you know, a lot to be on the lookout for. If you're trying to find my OnlyFans, as always, it's Reach Around the Table Sports. Promo code Hazed and Confused for this week only. You can use that, and you know you might not like what you find, but it's there. You know, take it or leave it.
She said.
Yeah, it's there. Take it or leave it.
What'd you say your Instagram was again? I'm gonna follow you, bro.
My YouTube is Around the Table Sports. Unfortunately, I don't have an Instagram. I made a Facebook. They've banned me every other week from Facebook, and I don't know why. I think I'm a controversy individual, but you ask Facebook, I'm the devil. I don't know. We just started our Twitter. That's Around the Table Sports. We have the Ty Hayes Twitter account. So you know we're tempting with these social media platforms.
Blouses and houses.
Speaking of social media, I'll remind everybody in the chat, everybody watching right now, find us on all social media at the Bama Standard. We're even on TikTok at _Bama Standard. Check out the Bama Standard tonight. We had a special guest on our show, top offensive lineman in this 2024 class, Joseph Ionata. Tremendous young man. This guy gets it. The second coming of Landon Dickerson. And he explains why in that show. So if you missed it, go back and catch that. You can also find me on my OnlyFans at the 2-minute drill with you. promo code Skinny Post.
Hurry up, offense.
Bang 8.
Wow.
Bang 8.
Pause.
3 and out.
But yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat tonight. You did your thing. If you're just joining us, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching the replay, get in the comment section, show us some love there. If there's anything that you'd like for us to talk about, send us an email at the Bama Standard, or the Bama Standard at gmail.com, that is. And we can definitely put out what you want to hear. Hey, we've had some great topics and fans. We appreciate you. Thank you, Donnie Lee, for coming on and hanging with us. We went way over time, but we're having fun, man. We greatly appreciate your time and everything you're doing for the university and for the youth coming up, brother. Thank you again for being a part of our family.
Appreciate y'all for having me, man.
Yes, sir.
We got to get the answer to Rick's question. Did y'all hear about the party they buzzed up this past weekend?
What happened?
He retracted his statement. It must not have been a good thing to say. He retracted his statement. So let's not hype him up. We want to keep our show, right? Don't we want to keep our show?
Coach Steven A. Smook.
The answer to that question and more next week on the Final Whistle. Join us. But as for now, we are out. Roll Tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.